start every day off with breakfast within 15 minutes of waking. So the time that you eat your first meal is the time that you start your 3-hour window of nutrient timing. Okay, so regardless of the time that you wake up, within 15 minutes, have a protein shake. You can also add like a healthy fat to it, like a coconut oil or a macadamia nut oil, about half a tablespoon for women, 1 tablespoon for men. And what that does is it kind of just helps like decrease the spike in insulin level that happens when you first wake up. So I'm gonna have Megan talk a little bit about this as well. So
how many of you eat breakfast first thing when you wake up? Oh, yeah. So what that does is we have a decreased blood sugar level when we first wake up. So if we let that continue on, then we're gonna start craving things like sugar, because our body knows that the fastest way to feel better is sugar. So doing some sort of protein and fat in the morning is gonna keep our insulin level. You don't wanna start the morning off with a bowl of cereal. Like that is one of the worst things that you can do, because it then spikes your insulin above where we need it to be, and then you crash. And then we go through this cycle all day where we're craving food, and then the 3 o'clock lull that everyone goes through because we've had carbs all day and no proteins or no fats to stabilize that. So breakfast is very, very important. Yes?
So if you work out first thing in the morning?
Always eat before you work out. You don't want to work out on an empty stomach. Because what happens is
We're not saying go to Egg and I.
Yeah.
And have some pancakes.
So a protein shake with a little, a protein shake with a little bit of oil in it. And the protein we have, it mixes in like 4 ounces of water. So it's literally just shoot it down and you're good to go. So it doesn't have to be 5 eggs and 2 pieces of toast. Yeah, I would throw up too.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't want to work on an empty stomach, because what your body does is, if you're in starvation mode, which is what we are by the time that we get to our morning workout, if we haven't eaten since 6 o'clock the night before, our body's going to start to break apart our muscle, because it's going to conserve fats for later storage, for later energy. So on an empty stomach, you're also going to have really low blood sugar. So you're not going to have much energy to do that workout. And workouts decrease our blood sugar, so you could become hypoglycemic. Which causes those dizziness, when you feel lightheaded when you're working out, you feel the bonk in the middle of the workout when you're just like, I just can't go anymore. That's your body telling you need to stop and eat.
And so our theory that we go on is that the right foods, food is fuel. And so you're using food as a way to kind of increase that thermogenic effect. So if you're eating every few hours, your metabolism is revving all throughout the day. If you're not eating, you're not eating when you wake up, and so then you're going 10, 11, 12 hours without eating, what happens is your metabolism is like this, right, before you go to bed, and then it goes like this over the course of the evening, night, early a.m., 6 a.m., and then you're all of a sudden 10 a.m. and you feel really like in that lull, with the exception of working out, right? So, but then if you eat, your metabolism goes back up and it's revving again. So then you've got your carbs, fats, proteins, your mind is functioning clearly, you feel better, you have energy, you don't hit a brick wall. So you kind of see that. So instead of like not eating, metabolism's here, eating, not eating. So the theory is to eat every 3 hours, so all day long your metabolism is revving. So you're using food, again, as a thermogenic effect to keep your metabolism revving, okay?
And that comes from an evolutionary standpoint. When we were, some of you have heard this, hunters and gatherers, we had to go long periods of time without food. So in order to survive, we had to have a low metabolism. If our metabolism was on high drive, we would just eat our bodies away and die. So long periods of time without food, metabolism goes down. Once we started eating and we were thriving, then it would go back up, and that's the time for reproduction and all that stuff when your body's functioning at an optimal level. Mm-hmm. So we don't need to be at a starvation mode. There's no reason for it. Mm-hmm. We have plenty of food, and we have plenty of good food. Mm-hmm.
And I also want to put this out there that, Megan and I, as, I'm a post-competitor and she's a current competitor, I am at my heaviest when I'm not eating. And then when I start to get into a contest prep and I'm eating every 3 hours and I'm clean eating, I spend an hour in the gym, I do maybe 30 to 40 minutes of cardio, but my nutrition is on point. And that's when my body fat drops, I look leaner, I look tighter. It's like, oh my gosh, and I'm so sick of eating. I feel like I can't, like I'm always eating because it takes a lot of work to implement this type of lifestyle. But I did that for years, and every time it was true. But also remember too, this is very general. If you have like, an autoimmune disorder, or maybe you can't metabolize proteins as well, or there's something very specific going on with you, then that's when like a very tailored, specific nutrition plan that meets your needs is best. We're talking from a very general standpoint to the general population, okay? So, some of these things are like, oh, well, that's not gonna, it might not work for some people. Some people metabolize and get leaner if they have higher fats. Some people metabolize and get leaner and look harder if they have higher carbohydrates. Like, I can metabolize carbohydrates like crazy. Megan cannot. And we learned that the hard way. I was like, okay, and then we started like switching around, and then all of a sudden she was getting leaner and tighter. So you put us on the same nutrition plan, we're probably not gonna get the same results. But again, we were very dialed into what we were doing. So I just want you guys to keep that in mind as well, okay? So if you do happen to come in and work with one of us, or you are we're gonna give you tips on how to kind of create your own plan. But if play with things, see how you are on more carbs, and then kind of do everything kind of averaging out, and then see how you are on higher fat. So again, that's that body, back to the principle of using food as fuel, and kind of using that food as increasing your metabolism. Okay, so just keep that in mind as well.